take another look at those winning numbers. Remember, there are multiple ways to win. We'll see you back here Monday night. Good night, everyone.
Live from Augusta, we're watching News 1226 at 11.
Weather shouldn't be something that people are afraid of, right?
Yeah, definitely not anything that we need to be stressed out about, but we do need to be weather aware. Make sure you have a way to get those watches and warnings. That's definitely really going to be the main message I want to get across as we go throughout the day tomorrow. And I say throughout the day, really early morning hours for us, but we have that first alert issue just to kind of put you on guard and at least aware that we are expected to see some stronger storms. Right now, things are calm and dry, but if we take a little bit of a step back, a little bit of a bigger look here, there is a mess going on across the state of Alabama right now. Move through Mississippi, several confirmed tornadoes, tornado warnings, and now that's moving into the state of Alabama, moving at about 55 to 60 miles per hour. So it's starting to barrel through relatively quick. We're expecting, timing-wise, for us to start seeing that heavy rainfall and those stronger winds possibly as early as 4 or 5 a.m. But that main threat, we're kind of putting that window from 6 a.m. to around noon. But I'm going to have this broken down for you coming up later in the show of what all you can expect time-wise and what all you can expect severity in terms of wind speeds, that tornado threat, and that flooding threat. So make sure you stay tuned to get some vital information. On Quail Road in Barnwell, South Carolina last year. Dickinson is originally from Columbia. Barnwell County deputies say after he was booked into jail, a judge denied his bond. And 4 people are dead after a family dispute in South Carolina. Charleston police say when they got to the scene, they found the shooting suspect holding an AR-15 style rifle and taking a 5-year-old out of an apartment. And when they made it inside, they found 3 people dead. The suspect and a child were later found at another address, and deputies say the suspect died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. We're trying to determine how a man caught on fire at Penn Station in Manhattan. Police say around 8 last night they found a 67-year-old man on fire at a busy subway station. He had burns on his legs and upper body, and investigators do not believe he set himself on fire. This incident comes less than a week after a sleeping woman was set on fire while she was in a train in Brooklyn.
2 in 1 week. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I'm unsure what to think about that.
From my observation, I come to work here all the time. I mean, into New York, and it's not looking good based on my observation.
Weather shouldn't be something that people are afraid of, right?
Yeah, definitely not anything that we need to be stressed out about, but we do need to be weather aware. Make sure you have a way to get those watches and warnings. That's definitely really going to be the main message I want to get across as we go throughout the day tomorrow. And I say throughout the day, really early morning hours for us, but we have that first alert issue just to kind of put you on guard and at least aware that we are expected to see some stronger storms. Right now, things are calm and dry, but if we take a little bit of a step back, a little bit of a bigger look here, there is a mess going on across the state of Alabama right now. Move through Mississippi, several confirmed tornadoes, tornado warnings, and now that's moving into the state of Alabama, moving at about 55 to 60 miles per hour. So it's starting to barrel through relatively quick. We're expecting, timing-wise, for us to start seeing that heavy rainfall and those stronger winds possibly as early as 4 or 5 a.m. But that main threat, we're kind of putting that window from 6 a.m. to around noon. But I'm going to have this broken down for you coming up later in the show of what all you can expect time-wise and what all you can expect severity in terms of wind speeds, that tornado threat, and that flooding threat. So make sure you stay tuned to get some vital information.
shooting on Quail Road in Barnwell, South Carolina last year. Dickinson is originally from Columbia. Barnwell County deputies say after he was booked into jail, a judge denied his bond. And 4 people are dead after a family dispute in South Carolina. Charleston police say when they got to the scene, they found the shooting suspect holding an AR-15 style rifle and taking a 5-year-old out of an apartment. And when they made it inside, they found 3 people dead. The suspect and a child were later found at another address, and deputies say the suspect died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. We're trying to determine how a man caught on fire at Penn Station in Manhattan. Police say around 8 last night they found a 67-year-old man on fire at a busy subway station. He had burns on his legs and upper body, and investigators do not believe he set himself on fire. This incident comes less than a week after a sleeping woman was set on fire while she was in a train in Brooklyn.
2 in 1 week.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I'm unsure what to think about that.
From my observation, I come to work here all the time. Into New York, and it's not looking good based on my observation.
Now the suspect the one in the woman's death, was indicted on murder and arson charges earlier in the week, and no arrests have been made in the latest incident. Golf course, also known as the Patch, is closing for full-scale renovations starting tomorrow and won't reopen until 2026. The Patch was turned over to Augusta Tech as a way for more hands-on learning for students in the golf course management program. The college has partnered with Augusta National Golf Club to help transform the course, and the 2 golf architects over the project have both worked with Augusta National Golf Club. And this year marks the 3rd year of the Meals for Troops event in partnership with the Marine Corps League at the American Legion Post 71. Years ago, it started with just 30 soldiers, and year after year, it continues to grow. This year's dinner brought 75 soldiers from Fort Eisenhower, and leaders say the goal is to make sure the men and women who serve our country are reminded they're never alone.
We want to make troops understand that they're part of a family, not just out here on their own. They can't go home, or they didn't go home for some reason, but there is a family here that will help support them during this time. They get a lot of anxiety comes during the holiday season.
Now, you just saw Phil there on your screen, and Phil served for 30 years in the military, and he says he remembers the feeling of loneliness all too well, and this way that they're doing this meal is a way to kind of diminish that, and he's looking forward to the next event in the new year. And a train collision injured 15 people when it ran into a fire engine. More details on what led to the crash after the break.
Happy holidays from Parker's Kitchen. Sending a world of good wishes to our invaluable team members. Thank you for making Parker's the best place to work and shop.
In the CSRA, there are a few winter essentials, and one you can't go without. The 1226 First Alert Weather App, the earliest alerts, customized for you, and video forecasts from local experts.
Lake wind advisory's in effect, and it's a really cold afternoon.
It's the must-have accessory to get you ready for the elements. Download the free 1226 First Alert Weather App, your essential winter survival tool. Trust meteorologist Emily Acton for your first alert. Trust meteorologist Chris Still for your first alert. Now, your first alert weather with meteorologist Emily Acton.
Well, we have a first alert weather day issued for your Sunday. Make sure that you're staying weather aware. We're expecting to see some stronger wind gusts and isolated tornado possible. And that greatest risk is really going to be from 6 a.m. to about 12 p.m. We can kind of make that a little bit shorter there. But hey, if you have any lawn furniture, things like that, make sure that those are secure before you go to sleep tonight, because again, this is going to be impacting us early in the morning tomorrow. Here's what we're looking at right now. This is over in the state of Alabama. You can see lots of warning polygons going on right now. Severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings. This has barreled through the state of Mississippi, and they have had several confirmed tornadoes that moved through. And again, this system's going to be weakening, but it is moving closer to our area right now, moving east at about 55 to 60 miles per hour there. But you can see several spots of rotation at the moment moving into the state of Alabama. But things are calm and quiet here in the CSRA. That's going to stay true overnight, but once we get into the early morning hours, that's when things will change up a little bit for us. Here's a wider look of what we can expect. The stationary front is going to be moving more towards the north, and that rainfall is going to slowly but surely move in, and we're going to see those temperatures rise overnight tonight. Will rise about 5 or 6 degrees for us, so we'll be in those middle 60s as that system pushes through. And here's around 9:30 tomorrow morning, we can expect to see that line pushing through the main part of the central part of the CSRA for us, and then should be out of our hair around noon, maybe 1 p.m. at the latest. A cold front's going to be pushing through behind it, and we'll see colder temperatures as we go throughout our work week. But I want to point out we are under a slight risk, so that's a level 2 out of 5, where we can expect to see some strong wind gusts. And again, severe thunderstorm warnings are possible, and to have that, we have to have wind gusts close to or above actually 58 miles per hour. We could see hail possible, but a low end threat on hail. My main concern at the moment is strong wind gusts and that isolated tornado threat. Flooding is definitely a possibility, but again, my main concern is any of these cells coming up in front of this main line we'll have to keep an eye on. But I do want to tell you the good news is the timing of this system is moving through early in the morning, so we're not having to deal with that daytime heating, giving more instability into the air, causing a lot more issues for us. So good news is this is coming early in the morning, so we're not having as much energy in the atmosphere as we could. But here's around 8:30 a.m. We can expect to see some heavy rainfall, lots of lightning expected, some thunderstorms as well. Should be out of our hair, though, by around noon, 1 p.m., so that's looking a lot better for us. Here's some future wind gusts, though, what we can expect. Here's around 7 a.m., 20, 25, maybe even 30 mile per hour wind gusts, but we can see that starts to pick up a little bit in some spots, closer to that 35 mile per hour wind gust mark, and that's just overall. We can expect to see some pockets here or there. I'll show you that in just a second. So again, this is in the state of Alabama at the moment, but this is just kind of an example for us. We can see some bowing in that line, and in those spots where it does bow, that is where we could see some stronger wind gusts there. So that's just kind of an example of what we could possibly see as we go throughout the day tomorrow. So just know around 6 a.m. to around 12 p.m. we're expecting to see those stronger storms. So that first alert has been issued. Much better conditions, though, once we get into our work week and even into next weekend. Much colder temperatures, but hey, it's looking really good for New Year's Day. And a tornado outbreak in the deep south has turned deadly. At least one person was killed in Texas after a giant system of twisters left a trail of destruction. And those dangerous conditions are still threatening much of the country tonight, with 22 million people at risk for severe weather from Texas to Georgia. NBC's Kathy Park reports.
Just hope it breaks up.
Tonight, the South under siege. An outbreak of twisters slamming across Louisiana and Texas. If you're in any of these communities, you need to be seeking your shelter now. At least 8 possible tornadoes cutting a path of destruction. Trees and power lines down. Parts of buildings smashed to pieces by winds of 70 miles an hour or more. You can see its force on this traffic cam near Galveston.
The inside is it's mashed. It's in bad shape.
The storm turning deadly, killing at least one person near Houston.
You see all that is picked up?
In nearby Katy, Texas, Quentin Lawton spotting this twister.
What was your reaction when you saw that funnel cloud?
It was a lot of dread, knowing that the storm was rotating and knowing that there were a lot of neighborhoods nearby.
There goes.
The extreme weather, part of a larger system building for days. On Friday, at least 5 tornadoes tore through Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama.
It's getting bigger.
In Mobile, Alabama, high winds ripped apart trees and took down power lines. In Jackson, Mississippi, this massive tree smashing into a house, injuring 2 people inside. These storms also colliding with one of the busiest travel weekends of the year, delaying thousands of flights and canceling hundreds more. Thunderstorms grounding flights in both Houston and Dallas.
If you're traveling at this time of year, you got to be ready for anything.
22 million are at risk of severe weather, producing 70-mile-per-hour winds and 2-inch hail. While out west, on alert for avalanches and mudslides. Mountain snow piling up in Washington, with 2 feet possible on Mount Rainier, making travel difficult to impossible. The storms not taking a break this holiday.
Well, we're switching gears. This time next year, or not actually, the next time you hear, do you want fries with that at the fast food drive-thru, consider the source. Is that the cashier talking or AI? Dana Bacchus explains.
In a world where convenience is king,
would you like to add nacho fries to your order?
Fast food chain Taco Bell is turning to artificial intelligence to meet the demand of its drive-thru customers.
What can I get for you?
Number 13. Implementing voice AI at more than 300 locations, including the one we visited in Irvine, California.
Does the order look accurate on the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Nationwide, just 4% of drive-thrus use the technology.
We've built it to be very friendly and interactive, as if you are talking to a human.
AI is said to cut the wait for an order by 29 seconds and improve accuracy.
I tried switching things up on how I wanted my burrito or my nachos made. They caught it within a matter of seconds.
Taco Bell says its robots help employees by handling the repetitive tasks.
This isn't about technology trying to replace our team members. It's actually how can technology create an even better human experience.
Other fast food giants have struggled with adopting AI.
Where did the butter come from? I would just like a large water and a cup of ice cream.
McDonald's recently scrapped its nearly 3-year test run after incorrect orders and viral customer complaints.
For some reason, she took the Diet Coke off and made it 9 sweet teas.
To avoid similar pitfalls, Taco Bell is pushing to make sure its voice technology works correctly, so employees don't have to fix botched orders.
Does having AI make your job easier?
Yes, it is.
In what way?
It's like an extra person on the store all the time for you. AI is never gonna call off on you.
Customers seem to be coming around too.
It takes away moods. It takes away people that have been stressed out all day. I think it's a great idea.
An idea Taco Bell is hoping will allow customers to do as its slogan says, Live Moss. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Irvine, California.
And as we head to break, here's a live look at Las Vegas and your winning lottery numbers.
In a world where
This News 1226 championship coverage is sponsored by the Chris Hudson Law Group.
All right, thanks to the Chris Hudson Law Group for getting us going. They're a local Augusta law firm, and they're the reason why we're bringing you exclusive Sugar Bowl coverage ahead of the big game on New Year's Day. Some big news early Saturday morning that doesn't really impact this game, but news that the Georgia faithful were waiting to hear. After suffering a UCL injury that required surgery, we found out earlier this week that starting quarterback Carson Beck's season is over with for the Dogs, but now his career with them is over too. Saturday morning, Beck declared for the 2025 NFL Draft. The 2-year starter for Georgia was projected before this season by many to be the top quarterback in next year's draft. Right now, many projections have Beck as the 3rd or 4th quarterback off of the board. And while he prepares for the draft and recovers, Georgia is putting their final preparations together ahead of the Sugar Bowl. Sunday, the team will head down to New Orleans, and backup QB Gunnar Stockton will be getting his first start of his career in a Georgia uniform. Offensive coordinator Mike Bobo not losing any sleep about the big challenge ahead for his new QB1.
I can't say enough for the way, he started the season and approached every game, which sometimes that's just words that we say you got to be ready. But his day in and day out, how he approached getting ready for the game as if he was a starter, I think has prepared him for this moment. If you asked me that last year, I don't think he had that same mindset. We talked about it going into the season. You got to prepare as you're the starter every week, and he took that to heart.
Now, Wednesday night Sugar Bowl will be the last of the 4 quarterfinal games in the college football playoff. The first one actually takes place on New Year's Eve at 7:30 p.m. over in Arizona between the 6th seed Penn State Nittany Lions against the number 3 seed Boise State Broncos. That game going to be a fun one. Can't wait to see it. And then we begin on New Year's Day at 1 o'clock over in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium for the Peach Bowl between the Texas Longhorns and the Arizona State Sun Devils. Then we move all the way across the country to Pasadena, California for the granddaddy of them all. It's the Rose Bowl. It's a game we love to watch every single year. Ohio State and Oregon taking place in that one at 5 o'clock. And then we finish things off Wednesday night with the Sugar Bowl right there in New Orleans at the Caesars Superdome between number 7 seed Notre Dame and the number 2 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Winner of that game moves on to the Orange Bowl, and the winner of the other 2 games moves on to the Cotton Bowl.
Well, thank you for that, Joe. Want to take a look at rainfall? We barely had a trace across Augusta and Aiken today, but tomorrow going to be a different story. We have a first alert issued for some strong winds and possible isolated tornadoes. Stay tuned for a final check on your forecast coming up after the break.
After an accident, consider this. Insurance companies track the results of law firms. They know which ones ignore lowball offers and file lawsuits, and which ones have never seen the inside of a courtroom. If your lawyer has a reputation for settling cheap, what kind of offer do you think you'll get? I'm Austin Jackson. At my law firm, insurance companies respect us because we stand up for our clients. Injured? Call Austin Jackson, the Augusta guy. 706-724-7224.
It's the Get Holiday Ready sales event with the Ford Crew. Final days.
Big inventory, big deals, and a final day's finish. Ford SUVs. The built wild Bronco family. Goat mode goes over any type of terrain.
She knows.
F-Series, best-selling truck for 47 years.
Final days. Exciting.
Right now, get 4.9% financing for 72 months, plus up to $4,250 total savings on a 2024 Ford Bronco Sport.
See how you can make a difference in a child's life every Tuesday and Thursday on News 12 First at 4. We'll introduce you to foster children looking for their forever homes. Grant me hope, because every child deserves to have hope. Sponsored by the Eichholz Law Firm.
Well, officials say a second wallaby on the run in Simpsonville, South Carolina, has been safely captured. Sylvester, the wallaby, was caught after escaping a petting zoo with his partner. The animals in the same family as kangaroos, you saw it just kind of like scurry across your screen, escaped Thursday from the Knights of Lights petting zoo. The animals were on loan from Eudora Farms in Sally, South Carolina. Creed was captured Thursday, and Sylvester was found near a park outside a subdivision in Simpsonville.
You know, they were probably so scared, though, if they came from, like, a place where, you know, they were getting fed and things like that. Like, that's scary.
I mean, look at that. That looks like a kangaroo in your front
And they're
yard.
by all these cars and stuff, which I guess if they came from Eudora, they're probably used to cars, but still, it's probably scary. But I don't know what I would do if I saw one.
I don't either. I don't even know if I would call animal control. I think I would just stand there in amazement.
Yeah, probably so. But hey, I want to take one last look at weather before we go. We do have a chance for some strong to severe storms right now moving through the state of Alabama relatively quickly, moving east about 55 to 60 miles per hour there, and we can expect to see rainfall as we go throughout the early morning hours for your Sunday. It should be out of here around midday for us, but again, that main threat is going to be some stronger winds possible, and we could see an isolated tornado. That risk is going to be a 2 out of 5. That's a slight risk, and we could expect to see wind gusts possibly up to 60 miles per hour. If we have I think I have an example coming up here in just a second for us, but if we have a little bowing effect, that's where we can see some of those stronger winds. Not everybody's going to see 60 mile per hour winds, but just where that line moves, you can see this is an example in Birmingham right now. If that kind of comes true here in the CSRA, then we could expect to see those stronger wind gusts. But again, an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out. Here's timed out of what we can expect throughout the morning for us. Again, overnight, not too bad, but once we get to around 5, 6 a.m., that's when those showers and thunderstorms will start to pop up, and some of them could possibly wake you up if you're still asleep. sleep at that time. We are expecting to see some heavy rain, lots of lightning, and some strong winds. So stay weather aware as you go throughout your Sunday morning.
You took out the words right out of my mouth. That's all our time. Have a great night. We'll see you right back here tomorrow morning.
Fancy holiday attire just because you can use it year round. Well, I don't think any Christmas sweater is ugly. I think that they're all beautiful.
I would say fancy holiday attire. I like getting dressed up for the holiday. Fancy holiday attire, can't go wrong with a good sweater and a tie.
Probably fancy holiday attire. I don't own a Christmas sweater. You tell me.
Happy holidays from News 1226.
Okay, so let's just start at the beginning.